Hey there, welcome back to the Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Lily Aldrich, and we had a crazy busy day yesterday in terms of severe weather, tornadoes, rain, wind. Pretty much we had everything, if you can name it. But today, thankfully, we're looking a lot better. So let's get straight into our forecast for the rest of the day. This is our 24-hour rainfall. This is all the rain that we saw yesterday. And you can see these purples and these red colors right over there. That was 3, 4, 5 inches of rain in some areas. So the severe storms that we saw yesterday, they came and brought us a lot of rain and a lot of winds. This is a list of all of the storm reports we saw over the last 24 hours as well. Some even seeing a tornado in some areas that we will detail out later in the show. But today, though, thankfully, our radar is looking absolutely clear, and it's going to stay that way for the next few hours. What a difference a day makes, though. Yesterday, our high was 90 degrees, and today we are 15 degrees cooler than that. We have a high of around 75 degrees today. And it feels nice outside. You step outside and you immediately feel it. You've got the crisp, the fresh air when you step out, and it's going to stay like that for a few days. Current temperatures right now sitting in the mid to low 70s all over the area. Around 71 over in the metro for Franklin County. Looking pretty nice over the next few hours as well. Topping off right around 74, 75 degrees with a slight cool down as we get later into the evening. We're going to see temperatures tonight dip to the mid 50s. It's going to feel good out there. It's a perfect day to go out on an evening walk. These were our dew points over the last 24 hours as well. You can see our dew points sticking around the 70s yesterday at this time. That normally means you've got that uncomfortable, the mugginess. You step outside and you're like, oh, I feel like I'm down in the south when tropical storms are coming. But today, significantly cooler. Look at those dew points in the 50s. That's that crisp air. You step out and it feels like a fall, or a little more like a fall day. Here's your crew forecast, though. It's a perfect time to get out if you're not going to the crew game. I mean, it's a perfect time to get outside at all tonight. It's going to stick around to the mid 70s, maybe dip down to the 60s by the time you hit 9:30 tonight, and it's going to feel quite nice. What to expect? Lows tonight in the 50s. Tomorrow, we're sticking in the 70s. If you're a big morning walker, like to take the coffee outside, perfect day to do it. But I recommend honestly bringing a morning jacket or maybe a sweater with you. Might be a little colder than normal, what you're used to at this time of year. Highs tomorrow sticking around the mid to upper 70s, still in the 70s pattern. That'll stick around for a few days, but thankfully we're slightly warmer tomorrow. Not by too much though. Still going to be feeling kind of that similar mugginess tomorrow as well though. Dew points sticking around the 50s, but we do have a slight increase by the time you hit Saturday, Sunday, and Monday for this weekend. Getting around the mid 60s, low 70s, kind of what we're used to at this time of year. Here's your 7-day forecast. Today, highs around 74, 75 degrees, but it's dry for the next few days. Lots of sunshine in your forecast. Highs slowly start to creep up back into the mid 80s by the time we hit Saturday, Sunday, and we do have a chance of seeing the rain start to creep back in our forecast by the time we hit Monday and Tuesday. The best chance for pretty significant rain would become around Monday evening into Tuesday morning. But while our forecast is much quieter now, that was certainly not the case yesterday as tornadoes and severe storms moved through our state, leaving behind plenty of damage. Here's what one man in Newark said about the storm as it passed through.
I run in the house real quick, and when I come back out, man, all this.
This is what's left of the church triumphant in Newark. The roof ripped off by severe weather that hit central Ohio Tuesday afternoon. Debris was thrown into the street and buildings and trees damaged for several blocks. Thankfully, nobody was hurt by the damage. The church was being used as a homeschooling center and the community had just raised around $30,000 a year ago to put a roof on the building.
To see it in the street, it's shocking to say the least. It's devastating, but we have a really strong community, and I have faith in our community and the Lord, and yeah, everything is for the greater good, right?
This wasn't the only building in Licking County impacted by the damage. Our crews saw multiple trees down on houses and other buildings. 10 TV's Libby Cathy spoke to an insurance agent who walked out of her office just moments before the disaster.
Yolanda, Jeff, you can see the debris and piles on the lawn here. Now, we were here all afternoon as crews started the work on repairing the damage, and that insurance agent tells me she's grateful that no one was hurt. Aaron Curtis has helped people navigate unexpected disasters for years. Today, the State Farm agent found herself weathering one of her own.
Just a matter of moments before I was right here.
As storms swept through Newark, Curtis was working in her upstairs office when employees called her downstairs to check on branches falling around them.
About 30-45 seconds later, I heard a crash, sounded like a freight train, and came up about halfway up the stairs and turned around, and this is what I saw.
A tree tearing through her roof, scattering debris across her desk, knocking bricks off the chimney, and leaving behind dust and insulation.
It was very quick, but it was very loud. We could feel it through our bones. I mean, it shook the entire building.
Curtis says her team then did what they tell their customers to do every day.
The process for me, even though I'm the agent, I follow the same rules as everyone else. So it was my responsibility to get a claim filed, to get the roofing company out, to get the tree service out.
For crews at Basic Tree Care, the mitigation work around Newark is just beginning. Limb by limb, we saw workers cut away the damaged tree and feeding debris through a wood chipper as they worked to clear the property.
Yeah, I think we've got 3 or 4 more of these lined up after this one, so definitely got a strong wind shear.
Curtis says her team will help clients remotely as the cleanup continues after getting a first-hand reminder that disaster can strike anywhere at any time.
At the end of the day, it's just stuff.
And Curtis tells me her team has a plan tomorrow to work from her home as they continue working on customers' claims. Reporting in Newark, Libby Cathy, 10 TV News.
Take a look at this video a viewer sent us from Duncan Falls out in Muskingum County.
Oh my God. Oh, there it is. Where? Oh my God, Tom! Oh my God! 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 Stay down. Stay down. What do we do? What do we do? Stay down.
That video was captured yesterday with that area already having a likely reported tornado. It looked like a transformer had exploded, wind sending debris out onto the road. This couple was not hurt, however, and 10 TV's Jeff Hogan spoke with them about their experience.
I was hitting the brakes and I just could not stop fast enough. And I turned because the trees were flying across the road and I was worried one was going to come through. So I just turned. And then we ended up hitting that ditch and up the hill there a little bit.
The weather, it was nothing that you want to experience. I was terrified. It changed in seconds. The whole sky, everything. It was something I never want to go through again.
You saw them turn around, but they were going home. But they said that was the direction the tornado was going. So they took the long way around. They told us they were lucky. We're continuing to see more video of the damage the storms left on Tuesday afternoon. This is drone 10 footage just west of Philo. Numerous trees down on houses and vehicles, showing a sweeping amount of damage right along the river. This is all damage from that same storm you saw in the last story, where the storm forced that couple off the road. Certainly an extensive area of damage caused here at both sides of the river. And then a bit further to the west, but still out in Muskingum County, our drone 10 capturing video of this storage unit that you can see is just destroyed. Cleanup began earlier this afternoon. Customers came to sort through the rubble and retrieve what personal artifacts they could get out before nightfall. And now let's take a look over in Zanesville. A tree uprooted, falling on a house. The owner sharing footage from inside the house the moment the tree hit. The owner of the house says he wasn't home when this happened and that the tree took out his front porch.
But I knew the trees were needing trimmed. But as we could see what happened here, trimming wouldn't have done anything. The tree needed eliminated. It was probably over 150 years old, in a bad spot.
Of course, with so much damage around the region, power outages are sure to follow. Currently, thousands are still without power following yesterday's storms. According to AEP Ohio outages map, there's still over 1,000 customers in Licking County without power. The same over in Muskingum County. Outages are now to a minimal level in the other counties impacted, but we're keeping an eye on this and we'll update you throughout the rest of the day here on 10 TV. In the wake of the storms, if you have damage, you're likely wondering what you should do when damage comes and what you should do next. No matter how small the damage is, here's everything you need to do. First, document everything and take pictures, both of your home and of your car. Next, secure your property from any further damage. And then you want to check with your insurance company about the next steps from there. If you want more coverage and the best coverage before, during, and after the storms, make sure you download our 10 TV app. We told you about these storms before they happened yesterday and kept you informed while they were hitting Central Ohio. So be sure you download the 10 TV app to stay up to date on weather before it impacts you. Also, after the storm is over, we want to hear from you. If you can safely do so, send us any pictures of video or damage of the area. You can do that by texting 614-460-3345. Another big story we're watching in the weather this afternoon is, of course, of the tropics. With Tropical Storm Bertha now formed in the Gulf, millions of Americans along the Gulf Coast are under tropical storm watch. Dark clouds, strong winds, and crashing waves are just a glimpse of what's to be expected as Tropical Storm Bertha passes along the northern part of the Gulf Coast region in the next day or so. Despite warnings to stay away, beachgoers in Pensacola got an up-close look at the rough surf. Over in Alabama, this popular pier is closed for the time being. Residents over in Mississippi and Louisiana packed sandbags and moved their boats further inland ahead of expected storm surge and flash flooding damage.
We are just at the very beginning of hurricane season. So August and September and even October around here, we can get tropical cyclones. While we have this storm that we're going to be contending with, it may not be the last one, so always be prepared.
The storm is expected to dump up to 6 inches of rain in some areas and bring a storm surge of up to 4 feet of water. With more on the preparations for the Tropical Storm Bertha, here's Paul Murphy from our sister station WWL reporting from Myrtle Grove, Louisiana.
Villery Reggio was on the Belle Chase ferry moving his 5th boat, his and his neighbors, to higher ground. He lives in Myrtle Grove, one of those storm-weary communities outside the Plaquemines Parish levee protection system that always seems to take on water during tropical weather.
The area where I live is prone to flooding every time we have a tropical storm, any kind of storm, so move all of our boats out, get everything out the garage. All the houses are elevated, but you got to move all your equipment, lawnmowers, everything to keep it from getting wet.
Parish President Keith Hinckley says the current forecast calls for high tides 2 to 4 feet above normal and 3 to 4 inches of rain as the storm system moves through the Gulf. Hinckley is more concerned about the east bank of the parish, where a low stretch of Highway 39 between White Ditch and Phoenix could flood if storm surge runs higher than expected. And the Point of Lahash ferry remains out of service, cutting off another vital evacuation route for residents there. While he is not calling for a voluntary evacuation, Hinckley has this advice for residents.
I guess we had some elderly folks or some folks that have some illnesses. They may want to go ahead and take caution and take precautions and right now, and maybe if they've got some areas where it's somewhere that they can go and to get away and to move on up above that area.
Parish Councilman Mitch Jurisic is warning people not to take the current forecast track for granted. He remembers what happened nearly 30 years ago when Hurricane Danny hit Plaquemines Parish.
It came in as a tropical system. When it hit Barataria Bay, it bloomed into a full-blown hurricane, which hit the Buras Boat Harbor, and it annihilated the boats in those harbors. So these people remember those days, and they don't want to take that chance of something, kind of ramping up right at the last minute.
Plaquemines Parish crews spent the day pumping down drainage canals and basins to make room for the expected heavy rain. Parish leaders expect this storm to be more of a rainmaker than a wind event. In Myrtle Grove, Paul Murphy, WWL, Louisiana.
We're also continuing to watch the wildfires out west, with new fires continuing to pop up this afternoon. This video here shows a fast-growing bush fire prompted evacuation orders in 2 communities in California. Tuesday afternoon, the fire exploded to roughly 950 acres just before 6:40 p.m. Pacific time, after it was just reported at first around 75 acres around 3 p.m. Several agencies were providing ground and air firefighting crews ranging from the California Department of Forestry and Fire Protection or other otherwise known CAL FIRE, to the Oakland Fire Department. No injuries were reported, and it is unclear how the fire started. And all the fire activity, those fire crews stretch pretty far thin. Alma McCarthy has that story from Portland, Oregon.
Across Central Oregon, a snapshot of the hot, dry, and gusty conditions fueling extreme fire activity. This is a look at the Rogue Creek Complex fire in Wheeler County, the largest in the state at nearly 150,000 acres. Hand crews, dozer operators, engine crews, and ranchers all banding together to strengthen control lines and mop up hotspots. Another couple fires of concern, the Akawa Butte fire north of Sisters and the Brewer fire north of Prineville.
We split our forces between the Brewer fire and Akawa fire.
For both fires, Governor Kotek mobilized state firefighting resources over the weekend. And on Monday night, Incident Command broke down their latest strategies during a virtual meeting.
There's a lot of fires in close proximity to each other, so we're competing for a finite amount of resources.
Snow has been absent in a lot of places, and we had an early melt-off, so it kind of accelerated the drying of those fuels. And then last week we had that abundant lightning event and caused a whole bunch of fires on the landscape that we see today.
Crews anticipate some rain within the next couple of days, poised to slow the spread of flames, though stopping short of putting fires out.
Our priority has been to the south side here, where we've got more of the community to the south, heavy equipment, crews, air tankers, and helicopters.
And finally today, let's check out some new video hidden to us here at 10 TV. We'll stick with that stormy weather and this amazing video out of Melbourne Beach, Florida, where a water spout spun up just north of the Sebastian Inlet on Friday evening. No serious damage or injuries were reported. Now, you might think this looks kind of like a tornado, but actually it's kind of a similar mechanism just over a body of water and can actually cause some pretty dangerous situations for people who are around the beach. So I'm very glad that nobody was injured over there. And finally, check out this story about how to beat the heat. At Hawaiian Falls in Roanoke, Texas, they dumped ice in their wave pool to help folks cool down. Employees hauled wheelbarrows full of ice over to the wave pool. After a countdown, they dumped the ice directly into the pool. Absolutely everyone was ecstatic at the day's development. Oh my gosh, I don't love cold pool temperatures. I would always prefer it to be a little bit warmer, so I can't imagine how they're feeling over there. I'm glad everybody was pretty excited about it though. Over here, back in central Ohio, though, forecast looking pretty good. If you have any chance to get outside for the rest of the day, I definitely recommend doing it either today, tomorrow, even Friday. It's going to feel pretty nice outside. Lower dew points for this time of year, sticking around the mid-50s to 60s. That's your comfortable range. It's a perfect time to get outside. And we haven't seen highs like this in over a month now. Well, pretty much exactly a month. Back in June 21st, the last time we saw a high in the 70s. But we're seeing them for a couple days here today, tomorrow, and possibly seeing some pretty cooler temperatures continuing into Friday. Saturday, Sunday, you got a chance of seeing some rain as we get into Sunday evening, and then it all turns back into the mid-80s by the time we hit Monday and Tuesday of next week. That's it for us here at on the Weather Impact Show. Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer is in tonight, giving you all the details and recapping a lot of what happened yesterday and more of what's to come. Thanks.